You're listening to The Silent Provinces, where we exhume Canadian cases that refuse to be forgotten. Unanswered questions, bizarre behaviors, and conspiracy theories, the Queen of Canada explores the effects of a cult and its takeover on a small Saskatchewan village. I'm your host, Ella Stewart, the investigative journalist responsible for accelerating the arrest in the Inky Soot Bandit case and the Polnavet scandal. Of course, when I'm not finding the inside scoop of caustic crime stories, I'll be with my competitive duck herding club. Joining us today is my favorite co-host, longtime friend, editor, and part-time fortune cookie writer.
Kieran McMillan, but you guys can call me McMillie. I'm excited for this journey of learning. I'm really interested in this case, and I can't wait to hear what's it all about.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Kieran. We're absolutely thrilled to have you viewers listening today and excited to unravel the ins and outs of the Queen of Canada and the aggressive cult group she procured. Now, I'm not actually talking about the real Queen of Canada. No, poor Elizabeth is long gone, 6 foot under the works. We're looking at Romana Didulo, a 51-year-old Filipino woman, the mastermind behind the cult labeled the Kingdom of Canada. Ramona was born in 1974. She was the youngest child and was raised by her grandparents and schoolteacher after the unfortunate death of her parents at just 10 years old. In 1990, Ramona immigrated to Vancouver, BC at 15, along with her grandpa. As Didulo aged, she started several unsuccessful business ventures, beginning in the early 2000s. Romano opened and operated a healthcare consultancy, another business called the Better Business Bureau, which ironically didn't last long, as well as 24-Hour Care Inc. Along with multiple other failed innovations, during this period, Didulo was a remarkably average and unremarkable woman. It wasn't until the rise of social media did her behavior begin to change. Romana started digging into the internet. It acted as a source of online entertainment and a place to listen to or share public opinions. Didulo ended up falling into this rabbit hole and injected various conspiracy theories into her veins, especially with the rise of the QAnon movement, a cabal she became intertwined with.
That's really interesting when you talk about all of her businesses and the fact that she started all these businesses, but they all failed because I don't know about you guys, but in a past ELA class I took, there was this RCMP officer who originally had these businesses similar to hers that all failed, and that kind of led him into his down spiral. So I wonder if maybe that's connected somehow.
Yeah, that could definitely be a factor. So with the rise of the QAnon movement, it was actually created in 2017, which is pretty recent. It was essentially a slurry of politically charged forums. The name comes from the anonymous user named Q, the leader of the organization. It's a far-right group that originated in America, eventually clawing its way across Canadian soil and into other susceptible parts of the world. The QAnon community believes that, get this,
A cabal of satanic, cannibalistic child molesters in league with the deep state is operating a global child sex trafficking ring, and that Donald Trump is secretly leading the fight against them.
this is straight from the Wikipedia page endorsing QAnon activity, and reading it out loud is just wow. I've been on other sites as well, and they've all collaborated to create the same kind of narrative. Romana was immersed in all of these intriguing conspiracies, finding solace in the online world with like-minded users lurking about. Her activity in the QAnon group rose and eventually gained credibility, using her legal name and not hiding herself in the shadows. Suddenly, in 2020, Q went silent. His or her activity ceased, and as an anonymous user, their identity was untraceable. In their absence, Ramona stepped up to the plate. She became a key figure in leading this movement and gained power within our borders. With this new recognition and influence on the niche community, Dulo took it a step further. She decided to found her own political party.
That is quite crazy. That's a crazy step up right there. You gotta have you gotta have some strong beliefs to do that.
Exactly. Your own political party from nothing. And I'm pretty sure at this time she would have been in her late 40s with no prior. It never said anything about her running for mayor or for like town council or anything like that. So a step like this is pretty. That's pretty huge.
Bold moves like that sometimes make the most influential people in history.
That's true. So, the political party she decided to found one day, it's titled as Canada's First Party and is even equipped with a catchy slogan.
It's time for us to clean up the swamp in Ottawa.
Romana was labeled the founder and leader of this non registered cabal. She utilized her online presence and would regularly record live streams or videos of her political endeavors. During this time, Romana began making one outlandish claim after another. First, she declared to have high level extraterrestrial connections. She claimed to be the head of Canada's Republic Party, as well as the Queen of Canada. Spaces to donate toward Romana's political endeavors popped up, gaining a lot of online traction. Her erratic behavior would accelerate after being endorsed by other QAnon figures in 2021, which only fueled her delusions.
See, those are even some more bold moves right there that are just making her stand out amongst all the others. But I am curious though, why did she believe she was the Queen of Canada?
So this isn't exactly known. However, Didulo clarified in a live stream that she was appointed the position by none other than the King of the United States. Romana earned this title through preventing World War III, leading the charge that prevented Chinese communists occupying underground tunnels within Canada. Thank goodness, thank goodness she was there for that. It was her, Romana single-handedly, stopped the Chinese communists digging underground tunnels within Canada.
And she's obviously not getting the credit for her. Like everybody should be calling her Queen, right?
Exactly. It must just be some weird government cover-up. But why?
I wonder.
Hmm. This king she spoke of is a man named David Jail Carlson, an American guy living in Arizona. Not only is he apparently a monarch, but also the commander in chief of the United Armed Forces Civilian Command. Carlson was presented with this title after foiling a coup against President Donald Trump. Besides this little bit of information, there are no other online sources that prove his claims are real. Interestingly enough, later on Carlson appointed one of Ramona's followers as the true King of Canada. Didulo refuted the statement and claimed that the Carlson was actually a clone. So he said that one of her followers was the true King of Canada. Ramona finds out and she's like, "Oh heck no, this guy is just a clone."
That's interesting. Like maybe it was the real guy or maybe it was a different guy and he was just trying to like start some drama or something, but either way it is definitely like interesting that she wants to be in charge so much that she's like denying it like immediately, like no way, obviously a clone, like doesn't even consider the possibility.
I know. I feel like skipping over to the clone part. That's interesting. You could have just said that someone, like, I don't know, coerced him into doing it. You know what?
Oh.
I'm not sure.
Oh, like a clone, like oh, I was thinking like just like a somebody was pretending to be him, but like did she actually mean like a clone?
I think she meant a clone, like in a government lab. Someone like replicated his body and DNA, like that one sheep experiment.
You know, that would make sense based off of like the other things I've heard about this lady. I wouldn't be surprised.
I know. And as much as we'd scoff at hearing such a ridiculous statement, others didn't. Members of the QAnon community within Canada would eventually meet up with Romana and decided to adhere themselves to her. With these physical followers by her side, online support, and funds from gracious donations, Didulo set out on a campaign across Canada. She would continue to utilize her political party as Canada's first, but also call her group of followers the Kingdom of Canada, setting a boundary between politics and subjects. With each passing day, her claim to fame got more and more erratic.
My fellow Canadians, I address you today as your Queen, Commander in Chief, and head of government.
Ramona claimed to be an extraterrestrial being and had the technology to regrow limbs. Remember before when I said that she claimed to have extraterrestrial friends or other sources like ET or like a man on the moon? Now she says that she actually is an alien.
So she wasn't talking like my dog is my friend. She was talking like a friend, as in she's also an extraterrestrial being.
She is an extraterrestrial being.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Um, she certainly had a charming, she certainly had a charming side to her, but often let power get the best. She displayed abusive, possessive, and authoritarian behaviors towards her followers. Many times, her devotees left their family and home lives behind, giving up everything in support of Ramona's cause. In return, if a disciple did anything to displease Dedulo, she'd often threaten them with extreme punishment, like execution.
My gosh. I mean, it's either a really good way to get somebody to listen to you, or it's a really good way to start like a revulsion against you.
Exactly. It's the fear that makes these people want to follow her. And this kind of behavior wasn't uncommon for Ramona, as her actions were unnecessarily violent, convincing followers to carry out ambiguous orders. The Kingdom of Canada was truly a group of followers devoted to her and followed every whim or wile.
Okay, I do have one question though. Like, what kind of orders? Like, I know a lot about Ramona, but nothing she's done is actually unlawful, as of what I've heard. Besides maybe demanding executions, but by the sounds of it, it's just like she's pretty delusional and taking advantage of all these people.
That's fair. I just want there to be a clear understanding of how this cult group originated and who was behind it. The podcast episode is labeled The Queen of Canada, after all.
That is true. So, at what point does her group become a cult? Like, what determines that they've crossed the line of just like a book club to a cult?
That is just a spifferoony question, Kieran. Cults are exclusive groups, usually led by one leader. This individual is widely recognized and often celebrated by the party. However, they reach this position through psychological manipulation, guilt tripping, and pathological lies. Followers are encouraged to cut ties with the outside world, following the agenda of their group leader. They become dependent and obedient on their group, allowing only their figurehead thoughts and feelings to be recognized as valid. Real life examples look like the Heaven's Gate incidents. This was a cult in the States, a UFO apocalyptic end of the world type shtick. Their leader, Marshall Applewhite, convinced all 39 members to ingest barbiturates, put plastic bags on their heads, and kill themselves. That's the kind of power cult leaders have when their followers are completely brainwashed. It's absolutely surreal.
Yeah, I mean, I know there still are cults today, and it's just kind of crazy. Yeah. Oh my.